today, or just stuff that's going on. And lately I've been thinking more about this whole, like, how Trump's trying to buy stuff like Greenland and making Canada the 51st state, or possibly even getting Mexico. And I was just thinking, like, it's not that crazy, is it? I mean, we got Louisiana from the Louisiana Purchase, or that whole chunk of land. If you actually look up the land we got from the Louisiana Purchase, it's a big chunk. It's like 1/3 of America. And I guess supposedly we bought the Louisiana area from France for, like, I think back then it was 15 million. And if you, like, say what today's money is, that would be like $300 million. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's impossible now to buy anything. And so I was just thinking about, and it's not the first time America's tried to buy Greenland. I guess a while back we offered like $100 million to buy Greenland from the Dutch, and they were like, no. This is during around the Cold War time, because we needed Greenland to have like a missile defense base and all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty, it's not like it's unheard of. And so I'm thinking about Greenland because yesterday I was watching that interview with Trump and Elon, and I'm like, Elon looks like a little, like, goblin, like a little mind goblin behind Trump. Just like, it was a bad interview, but I was just thinking about it. He just looked so awkward back there. And supposedly, some people think that Trump wants to get Greenland. It's because Elon's telling him to get Greenland, because Greenland has all kinds of untapped rare minerals and resources that's needed to essentially do Elon stuff, like go to the moon, computer chips, all kinds of that kind of stuff. You know how Elon's trying to get to Mars, he needs all that stuff. And so that's a theory that's going out, that Trump wants to get Greenland because Elon's telling him, get Greenland, we need it. And then I think there's the other part to it, is that as the snow is melting up there, it's going to become a major trade route where, you know, China and Russia is already looking at Greenland. They're going to ship stuff through there. And so we want to control Greenland so we can have rights to all those trade routes. Let's see, what else that I was thinking about today? I was scrolling through and I saw this ad, and I thought this was pretty funny too. It was like an internship to go to Japan, and it was like an all-paid internship to go to Japan. They'll pay for food, airfare, housing, everything. And I was just thinking, this seems like such a trap. Like, this is how human trafficking happens. Oh my god, excuse me. Like, I wonder if anyone ever answered one of these ads and just uproot their whole life, go to Japan, and they just end up in like a brothel or something. That just seems so crazy that a company in Japan would do that. Just like fly you out there, good chance you do not speak any Japanese, and they're gonna pay for your food, shelter, everything. And it's not like one of those teach English in Japan gigs, which I don't know. I don't know if they even still do those. I know when I was younger, that was a big thing where they're like, come to Japan, teach English. It's like it's like a real the listings was like a real technical job. It was like R&D for a technology company. So I just wonder, like, you go over there and you're like, oh, you're gonna be R&Ding, and now you're also gonna be a slave. Anyways, back to the Greenland thing. I feel like Trump's just like throwing out things to just like throw everyone off. But if he can pull off one of these purchases, that would be insane. Because I don't know how the Canadians feel, but if you actually look at the map of like Canada and how much land they have compared to where everybody is in Canada, they're all in the border. So most of the land in Canada is completely like just out there. It's all Arctic. So it seems like they already want to be part of America.
Now turn left onto Richfield Road.
It would be insane if that actually does happen, though. I wonder, like, if they would really, really want to do that. I know if you go up there, they have this, like, this hatred right now, what's going on, but it would be really interesting if Trump could just pull off one of these deals. Because it's not like it's unheard of. There was, like, I think Florida was purchased from the Spanish back in the day.
Now turn left onto Richfield Road.
So it is a possibility. What else is in the news?
In 500 feet, turn right onto East Miranda Avenue.
Oh my gosh, I was looking more into the USAID stuff and how I was thinking about, I mentioned it before, that a lot of these programs are like CIA kind of programs, and it's just that maybe people aren't really looking at it like that way. And it's pretty interesting. I wonder, how do you get that job? Because that seems like a very fun job to kind of just, like, how do we mess up another country right now? Like, what random thing that we could be doing right now to kind of like take a hold of another country? Like the brainstorming meetings must be so fun. Like, I saw one, it was but it was like, like a trans comic book or whatever. There was like DEI comic book, and so I was thinking, like, that is so funny, because it's like, if you're a CIA guy, you're like trying to pitch that out. You're like, oh, we're gonna make comic books, we're gonna make it spider them, and then the director's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We're gonna slowly weaken them by putting these little seeds out into their brains. And I saw, what was the other one? It was the condom one. I think it's, people were blowing up the condom one, but I was thinking about, like, if you don't want terrorists or wherever, or you don't want these people to multiply, wouldn't you want to, like, spread condoms around so you can kind of limit their population, so it'd be easier down the road to kind of like combat them? That was like, being in these meetings was just so fun. What was another one that I saw that was pretty funny? Oh, there was one. It was they spent like 200,000 or whatever to fly Ukrainian models to Paris for Fashion Week. And I was thinking about that. If I was the CIA or whoever, and you're trying to kind of like get support for Ukraine, you get the most beautiful Ukrainians, and you kind of put them in front of the world, and you're like, hey, look, they're hot girls over here. You want to save them. That would be a great CIA kind of like move to kind of, and then you want to funnel the money back into Ukraine because everyone's like, look, there's hot girls in Ukraine. You gotta save them, and kind of just like rally support. Like that's a great idea. If you're in that meeting where you're like, what else can we do? You know what? We should be sending Ukrainian models everywhere. Oh, that reminds me like in the early days of the Ukrainian war, that I think it was like OnlyFans girls or whoever, they were doing like Ukraine support videos, and they raised like thousands and millions just like posting pictures. What was another one that I saw on there that, like, if you really think about it, someone had to brainstorm these ideas. Oh, it was I'm trying to remember the dollar amount, but it was like maybe a 2-3 million or so to kind of develop tourism in Egypt, or transportation in Egypt or something like that. And I was like, well, you're trying to get information and spy in Europe. You want to increase tourism so you can make a cover, I guess, for your agents. Because if Americans or whoever aren't going over there very often, then it'll look suspicious. But if you up the tourism and kind of like build the tourism infrastructure in Egypt or whatever area, you can get spies over there. And you already developed like a relationship with the hotel company or the taxi drivers or whoever, and you can kind of just move your spies around and kind of just learn things. That's, let's see what else that I saw on that list that was like, if you, oh, I wonder about it. I have I'm working on a video right now because I'm looking really into I heard this thing a while back. It was about the Miami rice, that how in Haiti back in I think the 80s or so, or 60s or 80s, they kind of just, USAID basically jacked up the whole Haitian like agriculture economy by importing rice in there. And in Haiti, rice is like a huge thing. They eat like, for every meal, they're like kind of Asians in that way, where they eat rice for almost every meal. And there was a plan that was made, I think it was Reagan, that they wanted Haiti to make more coffee and other like goods or crops that the rest of the world would want. And so they diverted 30% of their farmers to growing like coffee, cotton, and other things to export. But because they did that, those farmers stopped growing food. So USAID came in and started giving them food aid. And it was like, I think initially it was like 10 million. And then from 1985 to 87 or something like that, they took in about like $50 million worth of food aid. But the issue is that as they were taking in food aid, the farmers in the river couldn't keep the rest of the farmers that were just growing regular crops and stuff like rice. They couldn't beat the food prices of the money that of the food that was coming in because our government was subsidizing like the rice. So they were able to sell it to Haiti for completely like pennies compared to what the local growers can grow it there for. So they all stopped growing rice. And to this day, 80% of the rice that is eaten in Haiti is from the US. And I just looked it up. Annually, they import about $200 million of rice every year from America. So just think about how that, I guess in a way, that's a successful US aid project that benefited America because they spent maybe like 50 million back then. I don't know what's the conversion to now, but they spent 50 million back then during Reagan's time, and Clinton didn't help this at all because I also found out that 60% of the U.S. rice is grown in Arkansas, and guess who's from Arkansas? Mr. Clinton. And so I think he like did something else, and so to this day we get like $200 million of revenue generated from Haiti. So I guess in a way that is a successful US aid program that benefits America. But it also highlights like the level of like back end deal goes in there because it completely tanked their they cannot grow rice over there anymore because whatever rice that they grow over there, they cannot compete with the prices that America like imports into there over there. I guess that's it for today. Actually, you know what else I was thinking about? Is that right now, like, it seems like it doesn't seem like food prices are gonna go down anytime soon, which I find very interesting because like it seems like we're doing all the other random things right now, like the straws and speaking of straws, that is the most complete waste of time ever. Like the straws, of course the paper straws were terrible, but it was a completely unnecessary that's a completely unnecessary change that happened the last like 7 years. Like you ban the straws and then you bring them back, and then like at the end of the day I don't think this banning the straws did anything because in a way they were still making plastic straws. It's not, when you went around, not everybody used the paper straws. I think the only thing it most likely did was actually helped like companies like Starbucks because they got rid of a lot of straws and they started developing those new caps. And I wonder how much money they actually made by not having to give every customer a straw anymore. Because back then they would just give you a straw, and then later they started asking you, "Oh, do you really want a straw?" And then they started making those caps that you don't need, those sippy caps. And then like a lot of companies and stuff are doing that now. Like I wonder how much money they actually made. I wonder if there's like a straw lobbyist that like came out there and like, no, we need the straws back. We're losing all the straw money. But I was thinking, damage is done. Once Starbucks started making those new like caps, they're not going back. They're probably making like an extra like 10 million or so because of the caps. Oh, that's the last thing I'm thinking about. Right. Thanks for watching.